But there are definitely people who I've met through the games that they're just like you two guys sitting beside me here, um, virtually. You know, they are friends. They are truly for real friends.
It is time once again for the main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you their MMO opinion. I kept waiting to see if he was going to say anything, but he didn't. He was too engrossed whatever he was doing there. All right, it's time for some Trinity Bro opinions. This week, kind of popped in my head. I was watching this show, Dad of Light, on Netflix. It's about where a son buys his dad, probably a 30-year-old. His dad's like 30 years older than him, buys his dad Final Fantasy 14 online to play it with the intent of maybe eventually saying, "Hey, Dad, I'm I'm in the game too, and let's a way to get to know him." So, but I thought about being because in the game's like, hey, he comes to his son, is it okay to accept a friend request? Because his son actually sent a friend request. Again, he doesn't know. Okay, his dad does not know this other character is his son playing it. Is it okay to accept a friend request? He goes, yeah, that's how you play the game. You have friends. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the fact that in Dark Age of Camelot, you had to make friends. You built your group, and your successes were based around the people you wrote down names, get back with them, be nice to them, and so play together and hang out together. Sometimes and be to the point getting be more friends, but then again you join a guild, and then when I that guild turned into like an alliance. I met some friends, on there who became friends, in outside of the game too, right? I was on Facebook, but not a lot these days. That was my day of send. I might say I met a lot of people online that I also send with, okay, but I'm not going to go there. But that's why and then World of Warcraft, we met friends. When I was playing with my brother, and we had a guild there, we met people, and they are still my Facebook friends at times, but I hadn't played the game with them in a long time. And so I was thinking about this, okay? Making friends in game. Is it good or bad? Start with you, Solomon. Is it good to make friends in game?
Oh, who cares? We're all gonna die anyways.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's true. Don't know when it's going to happen yet, Not sure when
I'm
God's going to
kidding. I'm
call
not a
us home.
nihilist. Um,
Someone is in a sour mood, maybe, huh?
no, I'm just stating facts.
Any facts. Okay, so you don't want to make friends then in game.
No, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit a few months ago,
We
actually.
did? Oh,
Yeah. Generally, I think it was more. No, I wouldn't say easier. I would say easier. Generally, it's something that I would argue happened more on my early days of MMO gaming. Um, life, I guess you could say, and
hmm,
I think that was a sentiment that you guys share too as well. These days, it's like whenever I jump into an MMO, it's like I don't really forge the same relationships that I used to do back in my 20s. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just like, it's just is what it is. I don't like, I'm not sad about that. Sure, I'll like join a guild's Discord group and be cool with people, but like, yeah, it just isn't the same. Well, like back then, I think back then because the internet was still relatively a new thing, and we all got into a game that um, we shared a commonality, which was the game itself, and so that's why it
right.
was easy for us to kind of bond together over that similarity. But yeah, I mean, if anything, I seem to be making more friends, if you will, virtual friends, if you will, on Twitter. Not Twitter. I'm sorry. No, not Twitter. On Twitch. I meant to say Twitch. Because like again, I met you guys on Twitch. I saw Ken at TwitchCon. I met David a few times already, and so, um, and it's not so much the games themselves or MMO themselves, that we share a bond with. Although that does help, although that is something, it's just our faith and, and among other things, right? So, yeah, I think for me it just changed. It just morphed into finding or forging relationships, whether it be close or not. It's just for me, it went from MMOs to Twitch. It might go back to MMOs, who knows? I doubt it, but it's not something. It's not my primary thing I look for anymore. I just want to play games. I just want to play and just get things done. I miss just even doing dailies because I work so much. you know, as odd as that sounds, I just try to make YouTube videos. Although really quick, if I may, I am taking a little bit of a break. I need to go back to basics. My numbers, like even despite the fact that I've been getting my subscriber count has been growing, my view count has been the same, if not it's been getting worse, besides my shorts. And so I just need to figure out what the heck I'm doing wrong and try something different. And so I do apologize if you guys watch my videos, but you know what they say, the definition of insanity is somebody who keeps doing the same thing over and over expecting different results. And I've been brute forcing it. But anyways, that's a different topic. I just wanted to throw that in there really quick, in case I post this on YouTube. But yeah, going back to the question, yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's awesome. Do be careful out there because there's a lot of creeps, obviously. But at the same time, for me personally, not really my primary focus, not my primary objective when playing MMOs. But if it happens, it happens. Great. If it doesn't, not gonna be upset over it.
No, it's a very good point. Especially the part where when you're younger. I mean, I'm obviously older. I think when I first started playing
What?
online, I had people I knew at work, and I had friends. Maybe not, I don't remember having a lot of friends. Okay, outside of my wife and my kids, and that's why I think my kids are appreciative that I've got friends now. Okay, they're concerned about what happens when dad, you know, well, it's okay getting online in a game and having jumping in. People say, "Hey," it was like Kennethan's here. Like this is like, it was nice that people were welcoming me being here. Place you could hang out with. Of course, I said I met some people online that I started relationships with, which was a bad thing. The bad relationships might say are bad, but other people online, and then but every human can handle, like, say, a handful of really good friends, up to 150, like part of the tribe, you might say. And you think about that when you start streaming, but playing a game online, you meet new friends. Do you then add them to your list, or do they replace somebody else? Because you can only really handle a handful of close personal friends at any given time. It's just not. You said I can't stop possible. And so online, it's like on one level you want to make friends online because the whole reason why you're playing online. You can play multiplayer games or you can play single player games without having ever be with another human being. But online gaming, multiplayer was always about getting together. That's why the original games were forced you into groups. They kind of made it very much a worthwhile endeavor to be in a group, to be in a guild or a free company, whatever else it is. Nowadays, because it is more solo, you can play these games solo all the way through. The friendship part isn't there, but still so many people get in these games to make friends, or they sometimes make friends invariably anyways. People have actually met relationships on stream, on games. So there's that.
True.
JahzealAl, what about you?
Uh, there's different
Okay.
angles. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to organize it in my head. This whole, I was being a good listener there and listening, and at the same time trying to get my thoughts together here where I want to start. Um, you know, to me, it was kind of like before the whole MMO thing happened for me, which I mean, I know Meridian 59 was there, but that was more a mud. And I always count more of EverQuest being the start of my MMO phase. But before that, my parents have always had classic cars. And I know you guys are going, wait, wait, oh, he's going off the rails again. Get it back on. But no, it does apply. So you would go to these car shows, right? And sure, you would have lots of friendly acquaintances with all the other guys that had the cars from the 1914 and up, and you'd make friendly acquaintances that you would treat as friends, but they were just kind of acquaintances. You'd see them once in a while at the car festivals and whatnot, and the cruises and the tours and the Toys for Tots things we do and all that stuff. And then you'd meet like people that they truly were friends. They were people that would come over for Fourth of July barbecue and Christmas. You would exchange cards at least, if not even gifts, and birthdays and births and weddings and all that stuff. They would be invited. You'd be invited. And so you would have that going on with the car clubs, especially before all that. I remember making some very good friendships, even though I was just the son of. I don't own a classic car. Which I did, although I couldn't afford it, so maybe I don't. But um, it would especially be when you would have because my parents have a '61 Plymouth Fury, and there's only 6 in the world now. That's
Really?
it. That's all that's left. Yeah, and I think there's the last that I was told, 4 of them are in the United States, 2 of them are in Europe. And so we know those people, and they know us because it's a very special tight group. There's not very many of them left. In fact, that year that car was called the Ugly Duckling because it didn't have fins on it. People hated it. Um, so when I got into moving up to 1999, when my friend, another friend named Kennethan, who was a coworker of mine at the ambulance, got me into that game. And I just knew him at the time was playing. Ultimately, we ended up getting like 3/4 of the crews were playing the game. It was insane. We had a guild and everything for the ambulance, and a bunch of firefighters and police and sheriffs, deputies were all playing together. Uh, it just kind of exploded. But I remember when I first got in, that, if he was on, it was awesome because I had someone I was playing with. He was helping me. He was giving me gear. He was giving me weapons. He was like saying, "Hey, you go kill these things for a while, and then you go kill these things for a while." And he was there. We were chatting. Uh, and then there was this one awakening moment where it was a day when he was at work. I wasn't. I was off, and I wanted to play because I was starting to get that addiction going. I've shared that many times. That was a really bad period of life, actually. Uh, and I went out and I was just running around and I was trying to like solo these mobs, and it was meant for groups. The campsite that I was trying to solo, and I had these people just come along and they were like, "Hey, um, one of our guys in the group just left. Would you like an invite to the party? We're going to be here a couple of hours." Um, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, uh, sure. I don't know what I'm doing. I just started playing." And they're like, "Oh, it's fine. Well, you don't know how to do something. Hey, hop on our Marco Polo, I think was the voice app we were using at the time." This is before Ventrilo and TeamSpeak even. This
Mm.
is way back. And so I played with that group. I think we stayed together for like 5 hours, and they were part of this guild called the Barbarians Helping Hand. They were all barbarians, yet I was a dwarf. Of course, I was a dwarf. I was a dwarf paladin, and they were all tall barbarian guys. Um, and man, there's 2 people in that group. This is 1999, guys. This is like January of '99 or February, sometime around there. I still talk to them.
Mm.
They're still friends of mine. We exchange Christmas cards. We call each other Thanksgiving, and one of them's a huge hockey fan as well. We're always joshing each other because we like opposing teams. He's a Canadian, and I'm an American. So, but that doesn't matter because you can like any team. Um, but what I will go back to saying is I've made so many friendly acquaintances that I cannot count in MMOs, going from EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Dark Age of Camelot that you also played, Final Fantasy 14, EverQuest 2, all of them. I've made friendly acquaintances. Now, please nobody start DMing me right now and saying, "Am I a friendly acquaintance or a friend, dude?" Because I think I'm kind of hurt. Don't do that, please. But there are definitely people who I've met through the games that they're just like you two guys sitting beside me here, um, virtually. They are friends. They are truly for real friends, and no doubt about it. Like if I could help them in any way, and I know it's vice versa. And so yes, I think you absolutely can do that. And most of those I've never met in real life, like I have with Solomon. In fact, some people may not even realize Ken and I have never even met in real life, and he's one of my bestest friends as well in this
Not
on this
yet.
earth.
Next month.
We're working on it. And Solomon as well. And have been very fortunate, even though both times we've only got to hang out for about 1 hour, two times. So a whole 2 hours we spent together in real life. It's been great. Um,
Well, sounds like
but
you've done a much better job of
yeah,
cultivating those friendships because, like I said, I made
yeah,
friends
yeah,
in
yeah.
Camelot. I made friends in WoW, and I didn't actually cultivate them beyond that. I mean, yes, I made some
Oh,
Facebook friends with some of the folks in World of Warcraft, and but when it came outside of that, I mean, I knew when I was playing Darkness of Camelot, some of the folks went over to Warhammer. There was a guild called Los Wapos, and I know a bunch of the people were actually military, and so several were on my email list who I would now and then communicate, but never met them in person, and I lost track. So this time around, when I say this time around, when especially like streaming for the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years, as being part of GMA, I'm trying to make sure that I don't forget that virtual friends are just like real life friends, and trying to keep and
yeah.
engage with them, keeping with them and trying to hang out with them. And that's why example is when I think about like every Saturday, not every Saturday, GMA has tabletop day. I'm like, it's so easy to say, oh, I'm not feeling it, right? But would I say that if I was going to a friend's house? Probably wouldn't. And so I try to think about, I'm actually going to my friend's house. Stay here, get online, play Board Game Arena with some folks. I'm like, hey, it's no different than me going to my friend's house. My friends are here too. So that's the one thing about online friends. It's easier to make and easier to break. And of course, naturally with us nowadays, back in the early days, there was no voice. Like you mentioned, other like Mumbles and Ventrilo and everything else, right? It was all text.
Right.
And so therefore, you didn't know the other person. You didn't even know they're male or female because you didn't hear the voice. They weren't
It's
playing the
true.
characters of the same sex at times. And so once you guys talking about in voice chat, now you can hear the voices. Generally, you can generally tell the sex of the person. You also get to hear the inflections about what their accents are, how how they act and behave. But nowadays with video, I mean, again, you mentioned example, we have not really met in person yet, but we have met this way. And say
Mhm.
what my colleagues from God More Activated, when I first met Freeman and Colt in real life, we had formed this in October of 2018, and then we met each other in July of 2019. It was like we didn't even skip a beat because we already seen each other's face, heard each other's voices. We already knew each other, and that's one I think I love about the idea. That's why when New World pops up, and we start playing that game again, I want to try to get to know people. I want to try to be more diligent about meeting people online and getting to know them, and maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens there. That I can finally replace you two, with somebody else new.
Finally.
Well, I think just an add on to that, something I was thinking of was that a lot of those friendships, it was because it wasn't only the game that we had in common. It was things like in our instances here, our faith. We
Yep.
shared the same faith in Jesus Christ, or we had the same love for music, or the same type of movies, or pop culture, anything, or parenthood, other things that you could connect with. And it wasn't just the game. And I think that's what kept the acquaintances as acquaintances is, yeah, they're great, lovely people, just lovely people to game with. But when you start talking to them on the voice on Discord or whatever, you kind of realize that we don't really have that much in common
Right,
other than
right.
the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's a
So
good
that would
statement.
be, yeah, that would be where those ones that you cultivate are the ones where you have much
Right.
more in common than.
Well, that's a good point because I mean, we three connected. I mean, we
Mhm.
wouldn't be doing the show 60 episodes if we didn't enjoy each other's company. I guess
That's debatable.
I mean,
That
we're
is
not being
true.
paid to do this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I'm getting paid. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Oh,
Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.